And with that, I bring Chris in now, 8 years later, that J.D. Vance is the nominee, along with Blake Burman, moderator of The Hill. Chris, I think this ties together, right? Because the emotion and the feeling in this room about Donald Trump comes from what J.D. Vance explained about a forgotten people that Trump now says he is willing to fight for, and they now feel, vis-a-vis Saturday, he's willing to die for.
Well, first of all, Leland, you know it's pronounced Appalachia. And when you say Appalachia, it sounds too fancy. It sounds too nice. You got to say, these are Appalachian Americans. Look,
thank you.
J.D. Vance is a chameleon-like character who has come to public presence in many guises so far. And there was the sort of sensitive soul who wrote the book that was made into the Ronnie Howard movie that was on Netflix and all of that stuff. And as you say, very popular on the sort of the cocktail party circuit in Washington. And then there was the J.D. Vance that we've seen now sitting there with Tucker Carlson, a pugilist, populist, angry, and willing to go to war with anybody. And the question for Donald Trump is, he doesn't really need any more help with Appalachian Americans. He doesn't really need any more help. He won white Americans without college degrees by 36 points, I think, 34 points in 2020. That's not where he needs help. He needs help in the suburbs. That's the place he needs help. And the question is, what does J.D. Vance cost Donald Trump in the suburbs compared to the new volume he can get in places like Wisconsin? Blake Burman, do you tell me I'm right? How do you pronounce Appalachia?
However you say it. I was just, when you talk about him being a chameleon, right? He's definitely had a couple different lives here in adulthood. I mean, you think about someone who went to Yale Law, right? Was a Marine and was in venture capital, right? So he's been sort of all over the map, literally and metaphorically. And now I look at that image, Chris, and I think to myself, look at how the Republican Party has been shaped. You got Mike Johnson and J.D. Vance sitting alongside Donald Trump, when in the recent years that was Kevin McCarthy and Mike Pence. And it just, to your word, chameleon, how things change. And my gosh, look at that image there.
And you and I were talking about this before. The money that Vance can tap into. Yeah. He was in the venture capital world, and he is friends with and connected to a lot of the biggest sort of Silicon Valley big tech donor people. Elon Musk today says, what, $45 million a month?
Like in the last hour or so in the Wall Street Journal about how Elon Musk might be donating $45 million a month. If that's so, you're talking, what, $1.50, give or take, between the election and now, and then all the others sort of in that circle. So when you talk about J.D. Vance and sort of his business roots, that's a very easy way.
$150 million?
Something like that, yes. But my point is, that's a very easy way.
I just wanted to clear that up for all of us. Stirewalt, you wrote the book Every Man a King about the populace of America. And there's something interesting going on here, right? And I can't help, and I know you guys aren't here to experience it, but we've all been to a lot of conventions, and the candidate comes out, and the nominee does, and it's this raucous applause. That's not what happened when Donald Trump walked out here. This place went nuts. I've been to a lot of rock concerts. It wasn't even like that. It was something different. It was that their savior was here. And I think you can speak to that emotion that Donald Trump now invokes in the Republican Party. And both of you guys made a great point. These are two men who have done very well for themselves. They come from different backgrounds, but they're now wealthy. They now run in elite circles. But for some reason, they have tapped into this anger and this emotion among a group of Americans, and those people follow them and believe in them in the way they almost believe in God.
Yeah, in a country with weak institutions, and in a country where the rise of the nuns, people who have no religious affiliation, in a country with weak families and weak communities, the church of politics, right? We saw it with Barack Obama the songs about Barack Obama, the worshipful treatment of Barack Obama. And at the time, a lot of Republicans laughed at it, that they were so goony-eyed over Barack Obama. And now you see here, it is ecstatic religiosity. And I'm sure there's a feeling in there that that building might levitate from just the pure joy of being in the presence of the Great One that the Republicans there feel.
Leland, the only other political movement that I have been at in which you really feel the energy that you've described is going to a Bernie Sanders rally.
Oh, baby.
And that is the complete opposite end of the political spectrum. But to Chris's point and to your point, it's how folks on that side of the spectrum feel about Donald Trump, which is what we've seen for a decade now.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.